Okay, so you want to own a golf course. Buy some land, plant some grass, build 18 holes, charge people to walk around and hit a ball. Simple enough. There are over 16,000 golf courses in the United States alone, and the industry generates close to $100 billion a year when you count equipment, apparel, and course operations combined. Surely there's easy money sitting on all that grass. There isn't, not really. Golf courses are one of the strangest businesses in America, because the thing that makes them beautiful is the exact same thing that makes most of them barely profitable. Let's start with the number that explains everything about this industry. The average American golf course generates somewhere between $1 million and $2 million in annual revenue, and the average net profit margin across the industry sits at just 5 to 10%. Some courses lose money every single year and survive purely because the owner treats it as a passion project or a real estate amenity rather than a standalone business. This is not a high-margin industry. It's a land management business wearing a golf costume. Here's the part almost nobody thinks about before they buy a course. Land is the single largest fixed cost, and golf is one of the most land-inefficient businesses that exists. A regulation 18-hole course requires 100 to 200 acres of land, and in almost any market with real estate demand, that land is worth dramatically more sitting empty than it generates in green fees. A course sitting on the edge of a growing suburb can represent $20 to $50 million in undeveloped land value, land that could be sold to a housing developer for immediate profit instead of generating a few $100,000 a year in golf revenue. This single fact is why hundreds of golf courses across America have closed and been converted into housing developments over the past 2 decades, because the land was worth more as anything other than a golf course. So before a single golfer even shows up, you're carrying enormous fixed costs, and water is often the biggest one. A single 18-hole course can use 90 to 120 million gallons of water a year just for irrigation, and in dry climates like Arizona, Nevada, or parts of California, water costs alone can run $300,000 to $1 million annually. Some Western courses have had their water allocations cut entirely during drought years, forcing them to either shrink playable acreage or shut down completely. Then there's the maintenance crew, because a golf course is essentially a living, growing product that requires constant labor to keep from literally dying. A well-maintained course needs a grounds crew of 15 to 30 full-time staff, mowing greens daily, some multiple times a day, managing irrigation systems, treating for pests and disease, and maintaining sand traps and drainage. Total grounds maintenance for a single course can run $500,000 to $1.5 million a year, and unlike almost any other business, you cannot simply pause maintenance during a slow season. The grass keeps growing whether anyone is playing or not. Then there's equipment. A single fairway mower can cost $80,000 to $100,000, and a course needs a full fleet of specialized mowers for greens, fairways, and rough, plus irrigation systems that can cost $1 to $3 million to install and replace every 15 to 20 years. Add clubhouse operations, a pro shop, cart fleet leasing, and a restaurant or bar facility that most courses maintain to capture additional revenue, and total annual operating costs for a midsize course can easily run $1.50 to $2.50 million a year. Now here's the part that explains why some courses survive while most barely scrape by. Green fees, the money people pay to actually play around, are almost never enough on their own. A typical public course might charge $40 to $80 for 18 holes, and even at full capacity, that revenue rarely covers the fixed costs of land, water, and maintenance. The courses that actually make real money have found a way to stack additional revenue streams on top of the golf itself. Membership dues at private clubs can run $10,000 to $150,000 a year depending on exclusivity, paid whether the member plays once or 50 times. Cart rental fees, which cost the course almost nothing to provide after the initial fleet purchase, can add $15 to $25 per round in nearly pure margin. And the real engine at many successful courses is events, weddings, corporate outings, and tournaments, which can generate $10,000 to $50,000 in a single day, dramatically more than the same day's worth of green fees from individual golfers. Here's the counterintuitive piece. You'd think the golf itself, the actual sport people are paying to play, would be the profit center. At most successful modern courses, it isn't. The real financial engine is real estate. Golf courses built as part of larger residential developments often operate at a loss on their own, sometimes intentionally, Because the developer's actual profit comes from selling homes that border the fairways at a significant premium. Homes adjacent to a golf course can sell for 15 to 25% more than comparable homes without that view, meaning the course itself functions less like a business and more like landscaping that happens to also generate a small amount of separate revenue. But this business carries real structural risk, and the clearest example is the wave of closures that hit the industry starting around 2006. Golf participation in the United States declined for over a decade, and more than 1,200 golf courses closed nationwide between 2006 and 2020 alone, far more than the number of new courses that opened during the same period. Overbuilding during the boom years of the 1990s left the country with more courses than golfer demand could support, and the ones sitting on the least valuable or most water-stressed land were the first to shut down. So let's do the actual math on why some owners keep the business running anyway. A well-run daily fee course generating $1.8 million in annual revenue, against $1.6 million in operating costs, might clear only $200,000 in annual profit, a return that looks unremarkable against the tens of millions the underlying land could be worth if sold and redeveloped. That gap, between modest annual golf profit and enormous underlying land value, is the entire story of why golf course ownership is really a real estate holding decision disguised as a sports business. You don't buy a golf course to make money from golf. You buy the land underneath it, and the golf course is simply what you do with that land while you wait for it to become worth more doing something else entirely.